I think every now and then we need to be humbled by something like a mountain, because you might think that you've got a certain standing in your family or in your business or in society, but none of those things count for anything when you're in the mountain. It just knocks everyone down to the same level.
Rim of Africa allows you this naturally flowing route over a natural line of mountain ranges that all link up from Clonwilliam in the northwest down to the Outeniqua Mountains in the southeast. Whether you're doing one stage, two, or the full through hike, it definitely pushes most people to their limits, which ends up causing you to shed a bit of layers and reveal to you a lot more about yourself than what you thought you knew.
I feel like the mountains of the Western Cape were somehow injected into my blood when I was born. That's the only way I really explain why I get goosebumps every time I see the mountains. So when I heard about this opportunity, Rim of Africa, to spend 2 months hiking through mountains of the Western Cape, it kind of felt like a bit of a no-brainer for me. An opportunity to just completely immerse myself in these mountains that I love.
My primary motivation was to challenge myself.
It sounded crazy for me then, who'd never done a multi-day hike. That was insane. I have a bit of an all-or-nothing approach to life. Yeah, so then I was like, let's see how far we can go with a through hike.
And so it's this once a year thing that you get to do, and it's an absolute privilege to be able to do it.
The physical challenge, of course, it's there. It's tough. It's grueling hiking, it's very difficult to describe if you haven't been off-trail hiking and experienced this type of rugged, harsh terrain.
You are either fit or you're not, and if you're not, you're going to get fit. The mental challenge is you're obviously away from friends and family, and being on a through hike for as long as one is, I think it does have a mental, emotional toll on it.
I was mostly concerned about it being a physical challenge, which it definitely is. But there's a very big mental challenge to it as well, which you need to consider, which you almost, I think, can't really prepare for, but in being aware of it, I think you are in a way preparing for it.
Probably the greatest thing is a strong mind. A very clear reason why you're doing it, because there will be down days where you'll just want to leave.
I think every challenge that you face and you overcome makes you stronger in one way or another. You can't walk away or walk through or walk beyond a challenge without it having dug away at you a little, but then you also realize, well, I was cold, but I survived the night. I was miserable as I was packing up the next morning and cold and packing away aluminium tent poles that had been in the elements the whole night and were frigid. My hands were aching from the temperature of those poles.
Unzipping that tent in the morning to see just whiteness in front of you is miserable beyond belief, and knowing it's going to be cold, but you have to get up now, you have to pick your stuff up, you have to put on your slightly damp clothes, you have to roll up your sleeping bag, you have to get out of your tent at some point and stand in the wind and the rain and the cold and then walk.
You'll be pushed beyond your known breaking point, and it's like new doors opening up to parts of yourself. It's like an inner journey. And you go, oh wow, I didn't know, I had that part. And you're getting armed with the equipment that you will need to tackle any challenge in your life. You're going to be stronger for it, in my opinion. And so So it is a bit of a challenge, it is a bit of a self-discovery, but it's also the ability to develop a high appreciation of what one can achieve if you put aside the easy route. I think the halfway mark for me was always a little bit of a litmus test for me. You know, if you can get to half, you can get to the end. I joked with my fellow through hikers that for me the through hike will only really start for me after the halfway mark, because you're being pulled back into society. I mean, we're here in Montague, we've been exposed back to the rat race, and now you've got to shed that again and actually head off into the mountains and essentially start again.
So reaching the halfway mark was very strange, because there was a lot of celebration and we were all howling and whooping and taking photos and hugging, and then immediately after the mist started rolling in and it started to rain, so we had to put up our tents as soon as possible.
The girls have just been amazing. They just keep on going, and they are tough as nails, and within the strength that I've got, I'm going to try where they need it to make sure that they do cross that line with me at the very end. Yeah, and I think that will be important to me. I think their journey and mine, they should finish at the same time.
I'm definitely expecting some tears. I think if I think back to every other big challenge that I've taken on, a big race or whatever the case may be, those last moments, there's a well up of emotion, of a realization that I've done this. This has been, in each case, you know, the biggest challenge of my life, and you're getting there and you're realizing that it's coming to an end.
Sometimes you think back, you'll be sitting with someone and it feels like you've known them forever. Then you realize like you met them 3 days ago. And they haven't been around forever, and they're not going to be around for much longer, but the time you spend with people is so enhanced and it becomes so special, and I think that to me has been the most surprising thing of all.
You form such close bonds because of what you're facing every day, because of the challenges that you're going through. My fellow through hikers that I've been with since day one, you get to know each other in a very different way, of course.
Within a very short period of time, it's like you've known these individuals your entire life. And the weird part is you think you know them better than some of your best friends, but the irony of it is you don't even know their surname. So it's an unusual affinity of like-minded individuals that pulls together, I think, probably lifelong bonds.
We feel so tight, we feel like, you know, we've got this bond, we feel like we're sharing something deep, but I know nothing really about you, except a lot.
This really is a life-changing experience, and so far it's only been half of the life-changing experience. I can't imagine what's going to happen next. Regardless of whether I'm able to finish this or not, I think it has been worthwhile so far. It definitely has. It's not something that I'll ever be able to recreate later in life. It's not something that I'll ever regret. Probably not something I'll redo.
I'm looking forward to being able to look back at the highs, at the lows, at the uphills and downhills, at the bad weather, at the good weather, at the heat, at the swims, at the coasting downhill or pushing uphill, whatever the case may be, looking back at that whole big sum of it all and being able to say, I did it. I achieved, I conquered, yeah.
Looking towards the end, to the best of my understanding, we're stopping in a place called 8 Bells. It sounds like a bar. It sounds like there'll be beer. A cold beer seems to be a reasonably good motivation to walk another month. They better have bloody beer. you.